You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm my friendship. Oh,
you know what time it is. Roll with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the uttermost to the public housing. If we don't play, our wide receivers got your secondary shook, so they cook them like Bobby Flay. Hey, stay out of my way and trust me, cause I know it's a way. Somebody please give this brother an eye. Come on.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk college football with real fans. I'm your host, Devin. Excited to be here. Got another good show planned for you guys. You know what you got to do, man. Hook us up, help us out, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well on both channels. Super chats are open. Good night for that. Got a regular guest on, going to dive into a little bit of this college football world. As you know, the last two guests I've had on, parents inside this world of college football, had their opinions on it. Now we're going to turn to Sports Talk Jay. Jay, get his opinion on the matter of some of these things we're seeing in the portal. It seems like each year things just get a little crazier. We'll dive into that. Also going to talk a little bit towards the end of the show about Arthur Smith and the hire the Buckeyes have made as their offensive coordinator. Nevada was scheduled to join us. He very well could pop up at any moment right now, but he had something pop up. So as of now, he is not with us, but never fear. Jay's here. What's up, Jay?
what up?
Do you like how I rhymed it? I rhymed you into the show. Did you?
There's
catch
a lot
that
of rhyming going on in this show.
Is there?
Hey, is that B Moses doing that song?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He's got a couple like Buckeye songs out, man. They're I like them. I like it. Yeah, that's his song. It's out. It's on, Apple Music, Spotify, all of it. Yeah, he's
okay. So he was a football player who also has got some additional talents.
Yes, he does. He is an artiste.
I got you.
He actually just put out a new song as well. I can't remember what it is, or I'd tell you what it is. But yeah, he's very talented. So cool to be part of a team with him for sure, dude. But how's I got to start off with this. Obviously, Buckeye Nation got in our feelings a little bit this transfer portal, because last year obviously there were two portal sessions, right? The first one, Buckeyes really didn't lose too many, and in the spring we didn't lose any at all. Well, this time come around, it was a different story for us over here at Ohio State. We lost 31 players in the transfer portal. Some players that we didn't expect to lose. I know you're pretty in tune with the SEC, pretty in tune with Tennessee. Tell us how Tennessee fared in the portal. And did you guys have some surprises this year?
Yeah, I tell you, Ohio State might be dealing with some of the things that Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, some of these teams that have been, I guess you'd call them rules followers. And I'm wondering if Ohio State's not following rules, and you probably are. And if you do, that's going to cause you to lose players, because there's plenty of, matter of fact, I've stretched out to make sure I don't pull any tendons, because I'm going to be saying allegedly from time to time, because there are some teams that are busting every rule there is and don't give a damn. And it affects Ohio State. It affects Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. And if you're following, and we've got our athletic director, which I have named Danny Do-Right, he does not like to break any rules at all, whether the rules exist or not. And so, like Ohio State, we've got plenty of money. We had a $15 million excess of money, but we couldn't get a quarterback in the transfer portal. So we're going to be going with a redshirt freshman, it looks like, unless we get lucky in the courts.
Dang, man. I didn't have this in the show notes, but I'm glad you brought that up. So I dove into this rule thing a little bit. You're talking about mainly the CSC, the contract that some other schools signed that wouldn't hold weight in the federal courts, not going to not going to get past, in my opinion anyway, but Ohio State most definitely following those rules. Ross Bjork, our athletic director, came on a show and talked about those rules and how everybody needs to be on board. But essentially, right, you have some schools following that contract because they signed it. And you have other schools that didn't sign the contract, still could be held right accountable for some of the stuff, but it's all a gray area. But essentially, the CSC, the enforcement hand of college football, is literally non-existent. They are not there. They do not even have the staff to go do anything about it. And some schools are taking advantage of that, and very openly, right? Texas Tech is like trying to get people to go the other way and say, hey, we're to throw our money around as much. Any Texas school, and it makes sense, right? When you look at how certain teams operate, and then you go back and you understand, hey, they're following a different set of rules than a lot of these other teams are. You could probably pick the ones out of the pot that are following rules and the ones that are not. But, dude, where do you go from here? Should the schools that are following the rules just stop? I mean, what are we supposed to do?
I'd say what'll happen, the teams that'll follow the rules will probably take a bunch of losses that they don't normally take. They'll get pissed off. The fan base will get angry. There'll be some coaches that could lose their job. And then the following year, they'll say, okay, we're going to do like Lane Kiffin and Texas Tech and Texas A&M. And look, there are a dozen billionaires in the state of Texas that have made it very clear they're just playing checkers and chess with us right now. They don't care. They're not a bit concerned about the NCAA whatsoever. They don't play in that world. You know, the only people they're afraid of are the feds and their ex-wives, and that's it. So they don't give a damn about following rules or Ross Bjork or Danny Do-Right or any of these athletic directors, because those athletic directors have to come to them for the money. So as far as they're concerned, they're junior partners. They're basically employees of theirs.
Yeah, dude, there's so many, there's that avenue that you have going on of where, you know, you got the rule followers of following these rules of, right, when the portal comes about, when they make an offer to a recruit, it has to get cleared through the CSC. So they're sending that thing in, right? It might take a day or two, however long it takes. I don't know the exact ins and outs of it. And right, and they come back, and it's like if another school ups that offer and you want them, you're going to have to go back in, turn the deal in, get it in the transfer portal. You see how fast it moves, right? So there's that aspect of it. You got the tampering aspect, which is just absolutely out of control right now. I mean, you're seeing it all over the place. The Duke quarterback who signed a 2-year, $8 million NIL contract. And then all of a sudden, I think the day the portal closes, announces he's getting in the portal and transferring to Miami. Okay, so let's just take a wild guess. Miami is probably not one of those schools that is going through the CSC. Maybe they are. I don't know. But with the way that they are operating right now, it's wild. So you did a really good show, and I highly suggest people go over and watch your the show you did on tampering. I'm giggling because I keep remembering some of the stuff you brought up, but it's just true. And it's wild that all this stuff is just happening out in the open now because, hey, man, the NCAA, do they still even exist? Do we act like they exist? Do we not? What do we do here? Give us your thoughts on this, the tampering that we seem to have going on in college football.
Well, the Darian Mensah thing is so blatant and in the face of this CSC, which is really just a false front for the NCAA because they got tired of their name being run through the mud.
Yeah.
They just basically said, screw you. We don't give a crap about any of your so-called rules. And I doubt a lot of these people are even bothering with this NIL go. I think they're just doing whatever the crap they want, and they'll just let the attorneys take care of that because Miami's got those big donors down there. They really don't have the fan base support that you would expect, like an Ohio State or a Tennessee or some of these bigger teams. but they have a handful of donors that have tons of money, and they love going to the Natty this year. And they know that if they didn't basically destroy Duke's season by taking this guy at the last second and leaving Duke empty-handed, who had done proper planning, they're like, oh, so what? We got to do what we got to do. So the entire Duke fan base just got wrecked, and their season did too. And where is the CSC? So obviously they're either a joke or they're doing something behind the scenes we're not aware of, but it's not stopping anything. They didn't stop the Darian Mensah thing, so obviously they're a joke.
Yeah. There was a part of me for the longest time, to be honest, because it's like, when you think about these rules that all came from the settlement, right, that was way out of date in the first place because it didn't get in place for a couple of years or whatnot. But, right, those rules are set in place to try to get some, right, organization in this chaos that we have. You hear so many people say, hey, man, look what the transfer portal is doing to my sport that I love so much. Well, that's those same people that like, hey, man, well, if you do follow these rules, you're going to get left behind. And you're watching that. It hit Ohio State pretty good this year. I'm not saying Ohio State got left behind at all. I think they did really good for the position that they're in and acquiring the talent. But we lost some players in this class that we did not expect to lose and that we did not want to lose, and that in previous years, right, we wouldn't have lost. They would have stayed for the development. But again, you have these schools that are seem to be operating just differently, and it's taken that aspect away from the sport as well, of that, hey, you get to know a player, you see him on your roster, and it was bad with the portal in the first place. It's always hard to hold on to him. But it was even worse this year because of that, because you got teams following a different set of guidelines than other teams are. And it's just like, what are you supposed to do? Following these rules can add a little bit of organization to this. But I mean, shoot, most of the teams that signed that settlement, I mean, they've just gone away with the idea. Like, I guess they signed and verbally agreed to do this thing. And now when it comes down to it, it just goes to show you how much pressure there is to win and to win now. And I just, man, I don't know. It is what it is at this point, but I can't wrap my brain around how they're ever going to get like a hold of this thing and get it back to a point where, dude, college football players have more freedom than to move around than any other professional. Name another sport where players can move around as freely as college football players. Well, just college athletes, period, anymore. You know what I mean? So it's getting to be a wild time. Anything to add to that?
Well, I question whether the players would even agree to collective bargaining, because why would you? What you just said is a perfect example. They have all the power, none of the negativity or ramifications of their actions. You can sign a contract and then you're golden. Okay. But if somebody offers you more, you take that contract and you just rip it up. Oh, I got a better deal. But here's the thing. I guarantee you, if Darian Mensah had played poorly last year and he wasn't worth $4 million this year, he would have expected every dime of that money, and he would have sued their butts off and he would have won, because not only would the courts have helped him, the public opinion would have helped him. Oh, well, you signed him to $4 million. Well, he's fulfilling his end of it. So the players have all the power. They get all the publicity helping them. And nobody's turned on them really and said, that's really wrong. You should agree. You agreed to this. Why don't you just honor it and not, what about your team? We hear about your teammates and your buddies and your pals and all this. You just took the entire Duke team and threw them overboard. Literally. Those are the guys that you go to war for.
In the same conference.
Said, nope, I'm done with you. I got more dollar bills over here. That Darian Mensah thing just bugs me to no end. And there's no guarantee if I was their attorney, I'd say, you don't want collective bargaining. Look, these billionaires will pay you anything. Yeah. Anything. They want to win because what's $10 million to a guy worth $45 billion? It's nothing.
Yep.
It's just, and he wants to win and brag.
I remember you did that show on like Larry Ellison or whatnot, and it was like the fine the NCAA gave Michigan was like 0.001% of his yearly salary or something.
Of his net worth, there were 6 zeros. 6 zeros.
6?
Yes. 0.0 times 6, and then a 6 of a percent is what his percent of his net worth would be to pay that $30 million. You can field an amazing team on $30 million. So if he ever decided I wanted to take 0.1%, he could field an entire conference.
Oh, bro, they'd find a way to bring NFL players back to the college game. Yeah. I'm waiting for that to happen. I'm waiting for an NFL players, you know what I mean?
That's like coming. That's
steam
coming
to run out. Yeah.
With this Betty Echo guy at Alabama that played 3 years of basketball. Yeah. That's coming. Because there's plenty of guys that only played 3 years. Well, they're supposed to get 4. Why can't they come back from the NFL if it didn't work out for them? I mean, crap. I'd love to have some of the former Tennessee players that left early come back, but that's not good for the game.
No, it's not. And one more thing on this Mensa thing, right? The little research I did, I always wonder what was going to happen because, right, you see the NIL and you're like, hey, make these guys sign contracts, right? Hey, if they want to portal around, make them sign a 2-year contract. Well, Duke did that. We saw how that worked out. Now, the judge did rule in their favor for a temporary restraining order, but then you're stuck in a position of, what do you want to do if you're Duke? Force somebody to stay on your team that's trying to leave? And ultimately, what I saw is they came to an agreement. Is that what happened? So my question is, I don't know if you know anything on this or not, is could Duke have forced him to stay at Duke with that contract? Could that have happened, you think?
If the judge would have sided with them, yes, and I would have absolutely forced him to. I would have said, you signed this deal. You said these are your pals, your buddies, your teammates. Right here you are, $4 million. Are you going to sit for a year and not make $4 million? The problem is these are marketing agreements. These are name, image, and likeness. These are not pay for play. So they control name, image, and likeness. They don't control his play. And that's where it's just that whole settlement thing is just, you knew from day one that was just never going to last. There was no way it could. And many attorneys made it very clear it's not going to last. It won't hold up in court. It will not handle judicial scrutiny. It will not pass. So
no. And dude, for a brief second, I thought the federal government's going to get involved here, right? And they're going to come in and put some laws in place and say, nah, that I don't see that happening whatsoever. I think my mind got changed. Weren't you the one that has it? What's your take on that? I can't remember.
0% chance. There's no possible way. No possible way Democrats and Republicans, that's why I don't ever talk politics on my show. They are never going to hold hands on anything along those lines. I mean, it has to be national, like security reasons for them to even agree to anything together. Everything has to be forced through. So there's no way that's going to happen. It would have to be collective bargaining or just go. Honestly, at this point, it's probably better to just go wild, wild west because teams like Ohio State, Tennessee, Alabama that are playing by the rules and getting hurt in the transfer portal, while LSU, Texas A&M, Texas Tech are loading up on our players, it's not good. It's not a good situation. We'd be better off because Ohio State brings in tons of revenue. It's more than 10. We took in $304 million this year, which was crazy. You guys are probably over that. So you've got room to spend the money you need to. The teams that take in 160, 170, 180, they have no chance.
Yeah.
They need that deal.
Yeah, it's turned into a money game. That Duke situation, you signed a 2-year, $8 million contract. Yeah. So essentially, they couldn't have stopped him from playing at Miami, but they had control of his name, image, and likeness. So Miami wants to pay him money. What had to happen there? If Duke agreed, right, to let to let that contract go. What do you think happened in that scenario? How much money did Miami just fork out? Because they had to offer him over $4 million to come play because that's what he was making there. So you start off with that, right? Let's say they offered him $6 million. And then they had to pay off the only way I see that Duke just agreeing to let him go over there is them paying him back that $4 million.
That's what I think it was. I think it was every dime of the $4 million.
6 plus 4 equals $10 million.
That's been reported for a couple of weeks now that it was a $10 million they had planned to spend.
Dude,
why would Duke even think about agreeing to it for a penny less than $4 million?
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't even have taken that. I'd have said, we're going to court, but they probably figured we might lose. And this is $4 million. And Duke, they probably don't have gigantic billionaire donors. And they were like, well, we can take $4 million and do something significant with it.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to count against Miami's house settlement. So that $10 million should count against their settlement, which would leave them $5 million approximately to spend on the team, which is a couple of offensive tackles.
That's Jordan Seaton out of the portal.
That's how far over the house settlement they are, allegedly.
I know. Hey, dude, when the CSC rules first came out and they started denying all these NIL companies like the Foundation for Ohio State and all that, and then that didn't even make it, not even 2 days. And they said, you know what? Never mind. You can now operate. These companies can now operate. I was like, well, there that goes. Because now you got third-party deals that it's just you pay somebody $1 million for an hour of sitting down and signing something. You know what I'm saying? So it's just completely out of control, man. And it's interesting, when I don't know. I guess this has been happening. But this year for me as an Ohio State fan, like I said, there were players this year that Ohio State did not want to lose. They did not expect to lose. And I'm not fretting. I think we're just fine. I think we're more than fine. I think we went into the portal, replaced those guys. We're going to be good to go. But it's just a different game. You're going to see completely different rosters year to year. And, honestly, it makes you think about, okay, what the heck are you supposed to do with high school recruiting now? You know what I mean? You pay a 4-star $250,000 to come on your team, but you sit in the room with them, say, we're going to give you $250,000. We see your plan as in 2-3 year developmental player. And then the next year, you know what I mean? Somebody swoops in and you don't know if he's going to be there. You literally have no idea.
Gone because you're going to pay them to develop them and to sit on the bench and not help you. And then when they put on 20 pounds of muscle and they learn discipline and they learn how to play really well, they're going to say, oh, now the $250,000. Oh, no, I need $750,000. And there's a team right over here with my good buddy, my new best friend, Lane Kiffin, that's offered me $750,000. So I'll be seeing you. Thanks for spending a year's time and taking care of me. I appreciate that. But they're gone.
Hey, I really, you can say no to this if you'd like. I know you did a show on it. You guys need to go listen to the show. I'm talking about the tampering thing. But can you go over for us Big Ten folk, right, that might not pay so much attention? We see what's going on at Ohio State, their portal, our portal mess. But compared to the story that you said with the linebacker, what's up with the linebacker from I can't remember. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The linebacker that went from Ole Miss to LSU, or the linebacker that went from Clemson to Ole Miss?
Clemson to Ole Miss. Yeah, the Dabo Swinney stuff. Where he
Dabo Luke Farrelly.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Yeah, what they did there, he had signed a $500,000 deal at Clemson. Okay, had signed I believe he'd signed the contract. Anyway, he was already in class and doing all that and got an apartment and a car. And he's in class, and all of a sudden he's getting text with contracts that show $1 million contract at 8 a.m. in his whatever class he's in. Yeah. And he's going, holy crap. So his agent, he texts his agent, and talks to him, and the agent, they tell Clemson, said, our guy's been offered $1 million. What do you want me to do here? I'm an agent. And they said, oh crap, but he told him everything's fine. He's not going to do it. I guess the agent told, I guess it was Ole Miss, and said, well, if you went to $2 million, we might be interested. Well, I think they said, okay, we'll do 2 years, $2 million to Luke. And Luke's sitting here going, I can make $500,000 at Clemson, or I'm guaranteed $2 million. So that's a tough ask. And Ole Miss is so jaded because they got totally screwed by Lane and LSU because they took their leading tackler, their best edge rusher, plus 2 additional players and gutted them. So Ole Miss is ticked off and jaded. So they're like, well, crap, if Lane can do it, we can do it. So that's what they're doing. And then Dabo's over there, who is Mr. Rules follower, going, this is not okay. This is not, he's a Dudley Do-Right too. So he freaks out. So it's really, if the College Sports Commission does nothing on that one, then you're free to do whatever you want.
Hold up. You left out probably one of the wildest details in that, and it is that the agent literally went to Dabo and said, hey, if you pay us $1 million, we will turn over all of this evidence that they are tampering, literally blackmail, not really blackmail, but
well, it's double blackmail because you give me the money and I give you the evidence. If not, I keep the evidence and I'm going to go get the money for my guy. So it's so crazy. I guess it's just something's happening all the time now. It's just, we had a coach tell us the truth of this is what's happening, because not a lot of coaches want to go out there and talk about that because it opens them up.
Yeah.
And most of them aren't rule. A lot of them been breaking rules. So Pete Golding learned from the best. He was, had Lane as his head coach for years, down there at Ole Miss. So he was like, crap, Lane's already showed me how to do this. Now he's hurt me. Oh, what do you expect the young grasshopper to do?
Dude, sometimes when I first, I've interviewed some players on here. They go to Ohio State. I get to know them. And then, when they leave, sometimes I want to get frustrated, at the player, dang, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? But then you take a step back and you realize, hey, right, we offered him $500,000. This school's offering $2 million. If I put myself in that kid's shoes, it's like, I don't know how frustrated I can be with kids that are choosing an extra $1.5 million, because if I was in their shoes, I'm being honest with you, I don't know what I would do either, especially you take me back to 18, 19, 20 years old. Oh, dude, sign me up, bruh. Sign me up.
It's life-changing money. It's family-changing money. I can buy a house for my mother, and a lot of these kids don't come from the best situation. And to suddenly have life-changing money flashed in front of you, and it's guaranteed for a year, and if you stay at Ohio State or Alabama, it might be better for you long-term, sure. But what if I get hurt? What if something happens and then all of a sudden I don't have that money? And I think that's going to affect recruiting big time. I don't think the 5 stars are going to get the money they used to get, the 4 stars. And like you said, a lot of the 3 stars, they might get just lucky to get a scholarship. And that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll get a dime.
Yeah, I think this has a trickle-down effect in a big way for high school recruiting, and the dynamic of how, obviously how they pay them, but also the amount of athletes, high school athletes that get the Division I opportunities that they're getting now, I think will dwindle, right? For a couple reasons. The reason that we're talking about now, and this next reason that I'm going to bring up, but when you dive into this next reason, right, it is the extra years of eligibility, right, that we're seeing floating around college football right now. TJ Finney is on his 7th school in 7 years. A quarterback, a Miami linebacker, Mohamed Toure, just got approved for his 8th year in college football. He'll be turning 25 years old this season. But you dive into it. He took a red shirt at Rutgers in 2019. 2020 was the free year of eligibility for COVID. 22 tore his ACL. 2024 tore his ACL. But now you're dealing with this, but you're seeing it all across the country because these players are able to make so much money, right? In this sport,
Yeah.
they will do whatever it takes to stick around. That also goes back to the developmental thing. You used to be able to have that argument with people and say, hey, man, don't go take this short-term money because if you stay at Ohio State, you'll get that development and you'll make more money in the NFL. That's not even true anymore. Some players are going to make way more in college than they ever will in the NFL. So it's just, you have some arguments, they're just gone now. It's, I don't know where you place the aggravation at for me. I want to get aggravated at these teams that are just, doing whatever, but then at the same sense, you're a fan of that team. It's like, hey, you're doing whatever to win. Might not be right. It's not good for these kids in the long run. I don't think it is. But it's just a jumbled mess, man. And it makes you wonder, Ryan Day said, I think a couple years ago, he said, in 5 years, you're not going to be able to recognize college football. Well, I think that was 2 years ago, and I think we're here.
Yeah.
Do you not think we're there?
Yeah,
Are we not
way
there?
Faster than I thought there'd be like some period of time where the House settlement would last for a year or two. It hasn't lasted a day, not a day. It just hasn't. And all it takes is just a small number of guys out there to totally wreck it. The billionaires and then a Lane Kiffin and a couple of coaches like that are like, look, we're going to win. This is a guy that did fake injuries for 5 years straight and had anywhere from 8 to 12 fake injuries every single SEC game that he played or any game that he really wanted to win. And he did it for literally 5 seasons to the point people were laughing about it out loud, announcers watching him point guys down and watching them act like they got shot. And it went all over X and all over the internet. And then finally, Greg Sankey got off his sorry rear end, our commissioner who stinks.
Yeah.
Finally did something about it. But, that's a guy. Do you honestly think he gives a crap about this house settlement at all in the slightest? And then if he's doing it, that makes all the other coaches feel like they have to compete.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what this is. As an Ohio State fan, I like that. I like operating. I don't know that you can use the word integrity anymore so much, but I like operating in that area that I think where you have the kids in mind and you want what's best for them. And, you're trying to win football games, but you're trying to teach these young men lessons that need to be learned in life. There's so many other ways to say it as well. So nobody take that the wrong way, but I like that about the team that I root for. I like that they operate in this. They're not going around and tampering like crazy, paying quarterbacks $10 million. But then there's the side of it that you're like, well, dude, if we don't do that, are we about to become I don't think Ohio State will ever be at the bottom, but are we about to fall off in whatever capacity it is? How far we fall off, I don't know. But
that's such a great question. That is such an outstanding question, especially coming from an Ohio State person, because the old way works fantastic for you guys. Fortunately for you, though, you've got money. You've got big money. You are the biggest game in the state by far. So even if it does, it will hurt you. There is absolutely no doubt. This will hurt the Ohio States of the world, the Alabamas and the Georgias. There's no question. But just like Georgia's very rich, just like Ohio State is. Alabama, not so much. I think it's going to hurt in Alabama quite a bit more. And they're following rules. You guys are rules followers. You're kind of known for that. Georgia kind of is in a way because, they don't look. Georgia and Ohio State and Alabama have really not had to do a whole lot of crap, to win. You've got just enough fundamental things that are just right that you don't have to. But I can promise you this. If y'all start losing games because of this, the pressure is going to mount because I've watched how coaches survive at Ohio State. You'd better win. period. You'd better win.
Oh, yeah.
Or I've watched really good coaches get fired there. It was like, damn. So I know where the standard is, and it's the same as Alabama and the same as Georgia. I watched Mark Richt get fired from Georgia, and he was winning 10, almost won a national title, won like 10 games a year. You're gone, buddy. Get out.
Yeah.
So it's you guys are in a very unique situation. You're at the top, the very top, and you're not going to like being pushed down by this basically cheating. That's what it is. You know, you're following the rules on it. I mean, I really think that. I think that Ohio State, and there's several other teams that are following the rules. I know my team is. Danny Do-Right's following the rules. He's come out and made it very clear. That's why we couldn't get a damn quarterback.
Yeah.
So, but it's going to affect the teams that are following the rules, and y'all are doing that. So,
yeah.
How do you handle it?
I know. Bottom line is, I completely agree with that statement, right? That we're following the rules, and what other teams are doing is a form of cheating, right? Is what it is. Like, these rules were put in place to avoid the chaos. They were put in place to make college football, right, a better place for what? Down to its very fundamental, for a safe and better place for these young men to develop as men and football players. And nobody wants to hear that at all. I understand everybody. No, they're getting paid now. They're professional athletes, all that. No, they're not. I don't agree with that at all. They're still 18, 19, 20-year-olds. They're not men. Yes, they're getting paid, but man, these things, they go back to like, I don't know, like fundamentals, character building, morals, and all these things. And the example that some of these places are giving and the way that they're operating and how it affects these young men, you won't see it for quite some time. And, you know, I doubt anybody will ever pay attention to it, but I have no doubt in my mind that the way that things are operating now will have a negative effect on several young men that are going through this process right now, even to the point where, I mean, what is there, 2,000 and some college football players that entered the portal with hopes and dreams alive, and now they have nowhere to go. They had no idea their college football career was over, and now it's over in a flash because, you know, it's all get in the portal now and get that money because that's what people are offering, right? And you don't know, like I said earlier, it's not that I blame and that's not in everybody's situation is different where they enter the portal. I'm not putting an overall blanket on why people enter the portal, what they're looking for, all that. There's legitimate reasons to enter the portal. There's legitimate, I understand that, but we all know and are aware, and these examples are becoming more and more public with the Dabo Swinney stuff, the Clemson stuff. That's what I'm talking about. When you sign a contract, when you make a commitment to your team, you need to stick to it, and these other schools, especially in your own conference, should not be able to come in, rip you out of your contract and take you over to their school. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? But that's enough complaining, man. Jay, I want to, you got any final thoughts on all this craziness?
No, you're 100% right, because you and I both know, 90 cents of every dollar will be gone within 24 months of that being received. And a bunch of those kids will end up with tax problems they've never even dreamed of. And they'll have gotten used to that lifestyle, and then they don't have it anymore. That leads to all kinds of bad crap. And at my age, I fully know that. I know you do. At 18, you couldn't have told me any of that. No. You couldn't have told me a damn thing about it. It's just, it is what it is, folks.
That is if they're seeing any of the money right now with Uncle Johnny being the agent.
Yeah.
You never know, dude.
Well, and they get a lot of help from their family all of a sudden. It's amazing how many cousins and uncles show up when the money shows up. I've been following you your whole life. It's like, I haven't seen you in 10 years. I'm your best friend now.
Dude, having this show and interviewing, I've just made some contacts, and I've had some conversations with some people about situations that are going on that involve agents, allegedly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that make me just be like, Nope, that's not true. You made that story up. There's no way that's true. Dude, I wish I could go, and I never will go fully into detail about those things because, I just don't think there's anything positive that's going to come from it. But yeah, it's wild, bro. It's wild. But
Well, I've seen
hey,
some
before I
of those
get you,
agents. They don't look like agents to me. They look like
no,
players to me. They're interested in making sure they get money for themselves and buying their next diamond watch.
yeah. Oh yeah. When you talk to actual NFL agents that are trickling down to the NIL and which I do, and what they charge, for their services, some of them do it for free, right? But some of them, what they charge compared to what these other agents are charging, it's like 10 times the amount. And it's like these players and their parents that are in this process, this is so new. It's not like there's a bunch of avenues and people they can turn to get answers to their questions, to find out if their agent is doing things the correct way, to find, like you got to put in the work and call and ask, hey, my agent's telling me this. Is this like, who do you even call and ask? You got to know the right people. If you don't know the right people, you are left, right, to listen to somebody, right, who claims to be an agent. But hey,
I'll bet there's 100 Colonel Parkers out there like Elvis had.
Yeah.
Though that's who's out there. A bunch of Colonel Parkers that are like, I'll take care of you. Don't you worry about it.
I'm about to start an agency called Colonel Parker's College Agency.
There you go.
Hey, before we get you out of here, man, let me know Tennessee expectations this year. First off, how do they do in the portal? Being a rule follower, being all that, do you think that they filled their needs in the portal as best they can? Do you guys know your schedule yet? Yeah, you know who you're playing, right?
Oh yeah, I've seen my schedule. I've got 3 non-rules followers I'm dealing with this year: LSU, Texas, and Texas A&M. Yeah, we did okay except for quarterback. And here's the other thing: we may have a guy that's played football for a long time, and Joey Aguilar, who might get that extra year like Diego did. We'll find that out February 10th. I'll tell you how we did in the portal on February 11th. Before then,
find out.
It's incomplete, and that's a problem.
Yeah, I got you. Got you. Yeah, man. Hey, Jay, as always, absolute joy having you on here during this long off season. I'll shoot you a text again, get you back on here, and we'll yab at something, man. Guys, go check out Sports Talk Jay's show. It's one of the best on YouTube, that I promise. Go check it out. Go show some love. Jay, appreciate you for joining us, brother.
No problem. Appreciate you for inviting me. See you guys.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoy doing shows with Jay. In all seriousness, Ohio State fan, not Ohio State fan, whatever. Jay's show is honestly one of the most entertaining shows that I watch on YouTube. Even, he's got, a lot of SEC focus, Tennessee focus, but still he also talks about the subject we talked about tonight. I encourage you, go watch that video. It talks about the Clemson Dabo Swinney story of the tampering and Lane Kiffin, how he's involved in it. It gets pretty wild. But anyway, I'm trying to decide whether to move on to the next portion of the show or whether to shut it down, because I do not have Nevada here. And I was going to go over, as I told you guys, been doing a lot of research on Arthur Smith, the things that he brings to this offense. And I wanted to dive into that a little bit. Now, mind you, let me make a little statement here, guys. I am a football fan. I've never played football. I've never coached football, but because I'm a fan, because I love the game, I try to get smarter, right, with the game of football. So I know Arthur Smith really loves running outside, wide zone, inside zone, duo, split zone, power looks from condensed formations. These are notes that I have written down, but I cannot explain to you in depth what those formations look like. And so I'm not going to sit up here and pretend to be some expert, right, on these things, but I have watched enough football to know that I believe Arthur Smith is going to take this run game to the next level. Right? And I know there's a bunch of people out there that, are a little hesitant on it or whatnot, but I'm a big fan of what I believe he's going to bring to this team as far as utilizing the run game, utilizing play action, taking Julian Sayin to the next level as well. I'm excited about it, but I it's hard to do that. I'm going to have to wait until I'm going to save this one for when Nevada can get back on here. But I'll tell you what I will do right now. Chat, questions, comments. Watch this. Watch what I do. I guess I run the show so I can do whatever I want, right? Boom. The link is in the chat. Come join me. Let's have a conversation. See if anybody clicks that thing. See if anybody clicks it. The link is in the chat. Hey, stars. Yeah, ChatGPT will help you a lot too. I use ChatGPT as well. Watch a lot of YouTube shows. I watched Arthur Smith. When Matt Patricia got hired, I literally went and listened to his seminar that he gave to a lot of coaches. It was like 3 hours long. I went and listened to it. I went and listened to Arthur Smith's the day that he got hired. I went and listened to. He has a video out there of a Zoom call when he got hired on at the Falcons. He has a seminar out there. I went and listened to that as well. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there that you could go look at and try to, increase your knowledge of the game. Monday is going to be a good show for that, guys. I've got VB Coach on here. He's way smarter at the game than I am. Steely's had a couple super chats. Thanks, Steely. Hey, yo, thanks for the $1.99. Dang, bro. Welcome, Jay. Love when you come on Scoop. Gosh darn, guys. I'm really bad at that, aren't I? I'm really bad at letting guests off the show before I read super chats. I apologize for that. And this, dude, Steely, I saw you make this super chat, actually. And I really wanted Jay to see this one. I'm going to send him to him, though. Thanks for the $1.99 again, brother. Lane Kiffin is a weasel snake oil salesman. Hey, ain't no doubt. Ain't no doubt. Greg's, thanks for the $5. Remember when Oregon tried to tamper with Carnell Tate last year? Yeah, offered him over $1 million. When you see teams like Oregon operate the way that they operate and go sign Aaron Scott. Aaron Scott didn't stay at Ohio State. They didn't want to pay him what he wanted. Well, Oregon did. And they literally have, he's going to be 4th or 5th on their depth chart. And yet they still pay him what Ohio State wouldn't pay him to be, right, a potential starter. Okay, so just another example of kind of what we're dealing with. Okay. Let's see. Hey, Dev, do you see the new OC will use the Wildcat more this year? I don't know too much information on that, on whether he'll utilize the Wildcat with Julian Sayin or not. I guess it just depends on, right, if we have somebody on the roster that can step in and fill that role. I do know that he utilizes a fullback, a lot of 12, 13 personnel. He just likes running downhill, man. There's not going to be these outside toss zones running towards the sideline. He's all about running north and south, getting up, real physical, man. That's just what he talks about. It's all about the run game, establishing the run game, and also his play action passing, his downfield shots, his taking advantage of linebackers. That because they've established the run game, these linebackers want to get super aggressive in that. He'll use play action against them, make the safeties cover different areas of the field as well. But it all stems on being physical, right, and setting the run game up for success and utilizing that, right? For me, when you go back and you watch the Titans and you see how Arthur Smith ran that offense, that's his offense right there. He ran that offense. He had the players to run the offense that he wanted to run. A lot of people want to look at the Steelers and how they ran their offense and judge him off of that. Well, I mean, what do you have? Justin Fields and what was that other guy? The other old Seahawks quarterback. So that year looked different. And this year at Aaron Rodgers. I don't know your guys' thoughts on Aaron Rodgers, but he needs to step up off one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But you're really limited when you have Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback. But in terms of, those play action stuff, Julian's saying Arthur Smith will ask him to use his legs this year. I mean, that is my opinion on the matter. They're going to want Julian saying to at least be a threat, right, in these play action things. If you're not doing that, especially down the red zone, unfortunately, us Buckeye fans know all too well what happens when you don't at least have that threat. Last year, Will Howard, we were one of the best red zone offenses in college football. Why? Will Howard was just to run the ball. This year, we were horrible. In Ohio State terms, we were horrible. Julian Sain wasn't a threat. You know what I mean? And also, guys, I will tell you this. Here is one strong thing that I have learned through going back and studying Arthur Smith as much as I have, is that if you're an Ohio State fan and the 12, 13 personnel stuff makes you nervous because of what you saw this year, if that's your reasoning why you're nervous for Arthur Smith, is because of your experience with how we use tight ends this year, erase that from your mind. Do not let that be a reason you are nervous for Arthur Smith being our offensive coordinator. He utilizes tight ends in a completely different manner than they were utilized this year. And shoot, dude, I mean, I could have told you that before we hired Arthur Smith, that the way the tight ends were used were not the way, right, that some of these NFL teams, you see them have success in doing it. They utilize them completely different. Plus, they have really good tight ends when doing so. Mark, thanks for being a member for 8 months, man. Sports Talk Jay hates scum almost as much as we do. Yes, he does. Yes, he absolutely does. He had some real good. He had some real good videos during that. During all the scum charade, he was following that stuff very closely. I'm telling you, very, very entertaining, man. No different than Miami trying to get JJ with $4 million. Same time Oregon was going after Tate. Yeah. Miami did it again this year. You know what I mean? I would love to know what they offered JJ this year. They did. That's not something I know. Like there is information I know. I don't know this, but I know that they reached out to his agent or they called him on his phone and said, yo, JJ, right, we got $6 million for you to come play for it. They tried. Guarantee it they tried. Do you guys think Miami tried to get JJ this year? You guys think? I bet you they did. Jeremiah, Arthur Smith will call plays, but it'll mostly be Ryan Day's scheme. On that note, one of the reasons that I'm excited about Arthur Smith coming here is because when you back up and you look at the decision Ryan Day made to bring Matt Patricia in as a defensive coordinator, what is one of the reasons? What is one of the first things on the list he wanted? He wanted somebody that could run the defense and he didn't have to be in the room. He wanted an adult. He wanted somebody that, right, he didn't have to check on all the time, that he could trust to keep things organized. One of the first things Matt Patricia did when he came into this program is completely change the system that they used on the quarterback to organize things, right? Man, a successful coordinator is one of the first traits that I have noticed with them when you dive deep into them is their organization. Arthur Smith checks that box in a big way. The interviews that I've read, the interviews that I've seen, people that have worked with him said very, very organized in the way he approaches this game. But my point in that being is that, yes, right, Arthur Smith is not a 4 wide receiver set, spread the field, fast-paced offensive coordinator. Ryan Day is a more spread passing attack type of coordinator. You couldn't tell that from this year, but from his past offenses with CJ Stroud and whatnot. The type of coordinator that Ryan Day is. It didn't happen this year, partly because I believe Julian Sain's first year. Going into Julian Sain's second year will free up a lot of those ideals that he has. But my point being is that Arthur Smith has the experience of running, being the head coach of a team. And I like him coming in because I believe he's one of the few coaches on the staff that will tell Ryan Day no. He will just tell him what he thinks. Hey, that's not a good idea, or hey, that is a good idea, right? Ryan Hartline, I mean, Ryan Day mentored him up to that position. So I'm sure that he respected all opinions of all his coaches and whatnot. But you guys know full well that, you build a relationship for that long and you mentor somebody up, they're going to have a harder time, right, coming against you. Not fresh ideas. Most of the ideas they have are the ideas that you've put in their head, the same ideas as you. Arthur Smith, not so much. So, yes, I think Ryan Day will have some say in the scheme and help in the scheme for sure. But I think Arthur Smith will be putting his foot down on a few things for the better for Ohio State. Hopefully for the better. Some maybe for the worse. We shall never know. Dang, I lost where I was at in the chat. Oh, here we go. Steely, thanks for the $1.99, brother. Transfer portal and recruiting worked out fine. Yeah. I know that my conversation with Jay might have leaned a little more towards the negative, but that was overall in college football. I don't, as of now, even with Ohio State being one of those rule followers, I think because they are Ohio State, because they're the type of program that they are, they offer the development that they offer, and they have the money that even when they follow the rules, they can operate with the non-rule followers, right? You look at the class we just signed, the 26 class. We got 5 stars. Name me a bidding war that we got into, minus Chris Henry Jr. a little bit, right? Like, name me one. Quay Guilford, not too much drama there. They tried. Sincere Johnson, 0 drama. Jay Timmons came at the end, got him. You know what I mean? So the way Ohio State is operating is still getting elite talent. They also did it in the portal. And by the way, guys, I noticed there's one site that has Ohio State's portal class ranked like 34th or something. Take those portal rankings off these, the rankings that they use for high school are way more accurate than the rankings that they use for the portal. They base those portal rankings off of mainly high school rankings. They don't spend a lot of time in making those rankings, so I wouldn't put too much emphasis on where they rank people as far as the portal. Oh yeah, it's coming. Are we getting a press conference for Arthur Smith? I don't know that it's there's not one scheduled yet, but yeah. No, Arthur Smith takes deep shots in his offense. That's people don't think that because of the Steelers offense with Aaron Rodgers. You guys think Aaron Rodgers can throw deep shots? No, bro. He ain't got it like that anymore. I'm sorry if you guys love Aaron Rodgers. He does not have it like that anymore. So he was limited in that. But go back to the Titans and Tannehill. He loved those deep shot play action passes down the field. Loved them. That's what he did, right? We always talk about it. We always want Ryan Day, right? You've always heard Ryan Day of wanting to establish the run game so you can bring the defense in, so you can take those shots over. That's Arthur Smith. That's what he loves to do. He loves to motion before the snap. He wants to make the defense communicate a lot at the college level. That's a perfect fit, right? In the NFL, schematically, I would argue it's way more important schematically in the NFL. When you come down to college football, right, when you're motioning before the snap and all those things, you watch Ohio State try to utilize that a little bit this year. Julian saying his first year, right, you're going to have a learning curve there going into his second year with the motions pre-snap that Arthur Smith's going to put in place. I think a lot more is going to be put on Julian saying this year, right? You remember Will Howard saying, since Chip Kelly calling Will Howard the run game coordinator, right? that's what I see Julian Sand doing this year. Arthur Smith's going to have it set up, right, to where going to be multiple play calls in the snap. Julian Sand's going to come up to the line. They're going to do their motion. He's going to see what the defense does to adjust to the emotion, and he's either going to keep the play that he has or he's going to switch the play. Arthur Smith will simplify this run game for the offensive line, which is what we need. We saw the offensive line, when they didn't do so hot, got a little confused this year from time to time. And honestly, they missed a lot of assignments. Even in the games they did good on, there was a lot of assignments being missed. Whew. Too much talking, Devin. Why are you talking so much, bro? Steely thinks DEG is coming. I have it on pretty good authority that's as done of a deal as it could be at this point in time. So that's what I'll say there. David Gabriel George is as much as a Buckeye as a recruit possibly could be at this time. The Buckeyes are putting all their eggs in that basket, right? They've offered some backup plans, but they are going all in on David Gabriel George's, and they should do that. Has Arthur been around the Woody yet? Good question. I will find that out. I don't know. Sam Greer is easily the second best tackle in the 26 class. Yeah, he was. He was top 3. Sam Greer is a top 3 tackle in the 26 class, in my opinion. There is a tackle that Oregon signed who is 6'7", 360 plus pounds. Emmanuel Ocho. I don't know his name. It's something like that. But I'm not sold on him. That's my point. I don't even know why I said that. Wasted everybody's time. Sorry. Hope we pull off Cypher's teammate, Rashid Streets. Absolutely. He'll be coming on the show, by the way. I've been in contact with him. He's a top 5 edge rusher in the class. Get ready in this 26, 27 class, guys. I know you've heard that rumor a couple times, but we got DJ Jacobs. And there's one position group that the Buckeyes are not playing with. They will pay for in this cycle. It's the edge. They want 2 big-time edge prospects. Larry Johnson's out visiting all the top edges, and that's not his style normally, but he's doing it this year. Yeah, Iheanacho. I think Greer is a better tackle than he is. This guy, Iheanacho. Let's see. All right. I think that does it from the chat. I didn't miss anybody's, did I? No, I didn't. Hey. All right, y'all. Hey, I appreciate you guys a lot. I want to give a shout out to the fan that emailed me saying that he will help I'm trying to. Sade, if you're watching the show, shout out to you. Might have some upgrades coming to the Buckeye Boys here soon. How the channel's organized. You know, you become a member of the Buckeye Boys. We'll be adding some perks to become a member, $1.99 a month. To become a member of the Buckeye Boys. Also might be changing some graphics around. You might be seeing some better thumbnails and stuff. So we'll see. I appreciate all the help I can get. It's hard running a show by yourself, especially when you're not technology. You're not too savvy with it. I am not, but I do the best that I can. But anyway, guys, hit that like button on your way out, please, on both channels. Hit the subscribe button as well. Appreciate all your super chats. Download the Spreaker app if you do not have it. Show Scoop some love. Also, Apple Podcasts, do the same thing. And as always, Scoop message board. Rocking and rolling, guys. Appreciate the heck out of you guys. Love you guys. Go Buckeyes. OH.